You know those places in a piece of music that always seem to go wrong? You try to practice them in every way you can think of, but somehow, every time you get to that point in the song, it goes wrong. Hi, I'm Samantha, and as a performer and teacher, I've experienced this so many times. Fortunately, I've found a reliable way to solve those tricky problem spots that just won't go away. In this video, I'm going to explain why the normal way of practicing doesn't work for these spots, and what to do instead to finally fix those persistent mistakes. First, we need to understand why the normal way of practicing doesn't work for these kinds of tricky spots. And to understand that, I want you to imagine someone popping a balloon near you. When you hear that balloon pop, even if you're expecting it, how does your body react? Your shoulders raise, you pull your head in, and generally tense up throughout your body. It's a fear response that's hardwired into our human brains. But here's the real kicker. If you see someone act like they're going to pop a balloon, even if they don't actually do it, you'll probably still tense up in the same way because your body is anticipating that scary loud noise. And so what happens when we have a spot in our music that we know is hard, that never seems to go right, we get scared of it. And when we're scared, our bodies respond to that physically. We get tense, hold our breath, and lock up, and that's the opposite of what we need to do to play well. We need to be relaxed and able to move freely. A long time ago, one of my teachers said to me, belief is a physical activity. If you believe that you can't play that passage, your body responds to that and will make it harder. You can test this out for yourself right now. First, pause and notice what your body feels like right now. Check in with your hips, your shoulders, your chest, and your neck to get a baseline you can compare to in a moment. Next, think of a passage in a song you're working on that you find difficult and worry about as you play the song. Now I want you to just imagine yourself playing it. You can look at the music as you do so if you want, and envision yourself playing each string in that passage. Then check in with your body again. Did you start holding your breath? Did you tense up anywhere that you weren't tense before? It's amazing how just thinking of that difficult spot gets such a reaction from the body. And that happens because you've trained yourself to be afraid of that spot. And your body thinks, okay, tensing up is how we play that spot. I've even had this happen to me where I came back to a piece I learned years earlier and my body still remembered places where it wanted to tense up. So when fear is the thing making it difficult to play a piece, it's difficult to get that spot to go well just by normal practice methods alone and repeating the notes over and over again in isolation. The good news is we can retrain the body to make friends with the music and respond in a positive way. If you believe you can play it, or even if you can just redirect your thoughts to something more fun instead of scary, your body will react to match your attitude. So now let's talk about how to actually do that. First, we need to come up with a different mental cue for your problem spot. Normally, as you approach that place in the music, you might think, oh no, here it comes, or it's time for the hard part, or even just, ah! These kinds of thoughts cue your body to get tense, to prepare and protect you from the difficult section coming up. Honestly, even just referring to it as a problem spot or a difficult section can be enough to trip off that fear response. So instead, we want to come up with something I call a smile cue for the spot you're working on. As the name suggests, we want to have something associated with that section that makes you smile. Truly, the sillier you can make your smile cue, the better. How I came up with this is like a little bit embarrassing to share, but that's okay. I will share my smile cue and you do not have to share any of yours. But I came up with this when I was working on a piece and there was a segment that I just could not seem to get through no matter what I did. So, as I sometimes do when I'm alone, I started talking to myself, and actually this time I started talking to my music. And I looked at that spot on the page and I said, all right, let's do this, little darling. And then I started to laugh because what a silly thing to call a few bars of music. But then what really surprised me is that each time I got to that part of the music, instead of thinking about how much I didn't want to screw it up, I remembered that silly thing that I said and started to smile instead. And you know what? I started to be able to play through it without a mistake. Here's a few ideas you can use for your own smile cue. You can give the section a silly name, make up some silly lyrics, imagine that the music is telling a story and something silly happens at that spot. If you want something a little bit more grounded, you could also cue yourself to remember to breathe or think some kind of positive affirmation like, I've got this, or my favorite, this is so easy. Even if you're kind of fooling yourself, just pretend. But basically, any kind of positive association with a passage in your music will help turn that fear response into a confidence response. Now, what you think as you play will already make a huge difference, but a lot of the time your body will need a chance to really internalize this new way of responding to the music. Here's how to do that. I like to start by practicing it mentally, kind of like we did before, then moving on to practice staying relaxed while playing. To practice mentally, first notice how your body feels to start with. Then try to let go of any muscles that you might be holding. Check in with your legs, hip, chest, shoulders, and hands. Take a deep breath and think of your smile cue. Next, imagine yourself playing the passage in question. Envision yourself playing each string and moving your hands as needed. As you do so, try to keep your attention on your body as much as possible. If you feel yourself starting to tense up somewhere, see if you can let it go and return it to its relaxed position. If you have a hard time thinking through it without tensing up, try imagining the music at a slow speed, leaving time between the imagined notes. Depending how strongly you've trained your body's fear response, you may need to practice this mental exercise several times before it really starts to let go and embrace the new way of relating to the music. Now, obviously, we need to be able to stay relaxed while actually playing as well, so here's how you can work this into your regular practice. Once again, you want to start by checking in with your body. Check in with your hips, chest, shoulders, hands, and try to relax them as much as possible before you begin playing, and make sure that you're breathing. Try to shift your attention around between what you need to play and how your body feels. If you notice your body tensing up, once again, see if you can let it go. It doesn't need to be perfect, and any amount that your body can relax will have a big impact on the way you play. As you start to feel more comfortable doing that, you can increase the speed and then play a larger section of the music. As you approach up to your spot, remember to think your smile cue and check in with your body as you're able. This is pretty hard stuff, so if you're having trouble doing that, you can also look for long notes or rests in the music where you'll have more time to shift your attention. I do want to emphasize here that I don't expect you to fully and only focus on your body the entire time that you play. It's simply not possible, even for me. The goal is to more so find opportunities to move your attention between the music, the instructions for your fingers, and how your body feels. It is a lot, but that's why we start slow and small, and that's also why they say music is good for your brain. If you follow these steps, you should see a massive improvement on your problem sections. But try as we might, mistakes can still happen to the best of us, so watch this video next to learn how to hide those mistakes so that no one can notice them. And if you want more free harp tips straight to your inbox, sign up for my email newsletter using the link in the description. Happy harping!